In late January 2026, Apple made a major announcement changing the game for Final Cut Pro. So, what does this mean for community media, and what are some of the new features with this new Apple Creator Studio bundle and Final Cut Pro 12? Hi, I'm Seth from Metasonde, and I work with community media centers on information technology services, operations, outreach, and so much more. When I think about Final Cut Pro, I've been using it, I think, since version 1, and certainly things have changed a lot from version 1, from version 7, and then when it jumped to 10. I know a lot of us remember those days, but since at least version 10 and beyond, if you purchased Final Cut Pro once for that $300, it was yours and you kept enjoying the updates along the way. Well, Apple made a major announcement unveiling the Apple Creator Studio bundle, which now means that Final Cut Pro is available for a subscription. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is changing, at least not at first, for those of us who own Final Cut Pro. Let's dive into that new bundle and also talk about what's coming next in Final Cut Pro 12. There are some newer features. So what does this new Creator Studio bundle cost? Well, for a new subscriber, you're looking at just under $13 per month or $129 per year, and that's per Apple ID. There are some discounts for students and educators. Unfortunately, nonprofits don't technically fall into that. And then Apple is bundling it with new devices for 3 months when you purchase a new MacBook Pro or iMac. When we look at the subscription package, here's what it includes. It's sort of a bundle of what was the original Final Cut Studio bundle, along with the iWork apps and some new additions as well. So of course, there's Final Cut Pro, there's Motion, and there's Compressor. There's Keynote, Pages, and Numbers, and those are still going to be free apps. We'll talk about that in just a sec. Also, too, it includes Logic Pro, which is an audio editing software, sort of similar to Adobe Audition, and then a new addition to this creative bundle, and that's Pixelmator Pro, which is some software that Apple acquired around a year or two ago as an answer to Adobe's Photoshop or Affinity Photo. It's an image editing software, so that's all bundled. Now, when the Creator Studio was announced, it came in tandem with Final Cut Pro 12. And if you own the perpetual license to Final Cut, you're still going to get these latest updates. There's a few pretty notable ones in here. The first is that they're finally rolling out a transcript search. So Final Cut will on-device transcribe, create captions for you of the video, but now you can search for it in the transcript, so you can jump to it in the timeline as a way to make editing more efficient. The other one, which is pretty neat, is a visual search, and this lets you actually search for what's on or contained within your video. So if you have a picture of a yellow house in the background, you can search for yellow house, and that search will turn it up. It's using the on-device AI intelligence magic in order to describe what's there so that you can search for things and at least cut down some of the time logging and capturing through your footage. And then the last one, kind of neat, is a beat detection feature, which will help you edit along with the beat for a backing track, music, things like that. So what happens if you bought Final Cut Pro 10 a long time ago and have been enjoying all of those free updates along the way? Well, the good news is nothing, at least at first, is going to change. This is a new offering that Apple is rolling out, and they will continue, at least in the interim. They do promise to keep that perpetual version of Final Cut up to date with the latest features. So are there advantages to having the subscription versus owning the perpetual license? Well, when it comes to features, again, not immediately. However, some reviewers have noted that Apple is bundling some new templates, some new graphics generators, some of that content with the Creator Studio bundle in Final Cut that you are not getting with the perpetual license. Now, are you missing out? There's a few things here and there, but what's baked into Final Cut is no competition for those other plugin tools like Envato Elements or Motion VFX. Now, the same is also true for Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, those iWork apps. Apple will be including some extra AI features and some content and templates in the subscription that you're not going to get with the free version. In summary, does this really change things in community media for those who are a Final Cut Pro shop? Well, no, not immediately. You'll still continue to use the software that you already own. However, as time goes on, you may want to consider If Apple starts tightening the screws on the subscription and starts peeling features away, perhaps looking at the Adobe Creative Suite or looking at Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve. Otherwise, for right now, it's a way to lower the barrier of entry for creators who don't have as much free cash lying around. They can purchase the subscription for a month or two for a relatively cheaper amount of money than it would have been many years ago, the $300 plus the extra 100 for motion and compressor. So not an immediate change, not an immediate feature loss. So if you are a Final Cut Pro shop, you can continue to use it for the long term. What do you think? Will you continue using Final Cut? Will you look at other alternatives? Have you used some of those new features? I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching.